What's up, Turtle Hermit? I saw your post in Overwatch University, and someone gave you some pretty good feedback, I thought, but I think it's a little easier to see things sometimes. Um, my general impression of this game is a couple things. There's like more than one thing going on here. One of them is just ult economy, and there's a lot of fights that you lose just because the other team uses their ults better than your team. Um, And part of that's going to be on you as the tank because you need to anticipate these things. Since you're one of the main people, like you and the supports are the main dudes who can do something about that with your abilities, right? We can shield ults, we can on Sigma we can rock certain ults, we can suck ults, and we can also with our positioning like try to help our team like disengage or rotate, you know, or play like further back, play in a different way if certain ults are up, save cooldowns for ults. So that's kind of one thing, and it's part of why this game felt so brutal, I think, to play. And then the other thing that's going on is kind of this is a thing I see a lot in sort of platinum-ish gameplay, and even into diamond, I would say, is like you have a default that kind of works for you, and no matter sort of what's happening in the game, you sort of do the same thing, um, like as if your team and the other team don't exist, really. Um, and part of that is knowing your matchups. Like you want to play different tanks in different ways. Like we want to use our abilities to try and get an advantage on the other Sig so that we can kind of walk forward and oppress like the rest of his team and make him be like always on a back foot. But then versus a tank like Zarya, we want to play back. We want to make her walk to have to do anything to us because if she's close to us, that's the situation she wants, right? Especially if she has a bubble and she can hold it to wait for our rock and then bubble our rock. Then we can't do anything to her really other than shield, right? And kind of like all the tank matchups are like that. It's not just about sort of tank versus tank, which I think you're also like pretty focused on to a fault. It's uh, it's like how that affects like what you can do to the rest of their team, right? Because in general, we want to be like limiting the other tank, but we're not usually looking to kill the other tank first. Um, I mean, just because basically, if you think about it, like they're the most health, like 3 times as much health as any other person on your team, generally speaking, and they have defensive abilities, and in general, like one or both healers are going to be pocketing them, so they're going to be the hardest person to kill. Uh, so, so that's kind of what I see, and then there's some like hero specific things that I think would help you out as well, and also in general, just like because you kind of default to sort of going down main, like the same path the cart is going to take, and kind of default to cart in general. You take a lot of unnecessary damage too, and with the patch, the way that it's changed, like that's a lot worse than it used to be because that means you also get debuffed, and that makes you super vulnerable, and then you have to use your resources to stay alive instead of using them to take space. Um, so uh, yeah, that's positioning and also sort of being reactive instead of proactive. Like I'm not seeing you like anticipate what's going to happen and try to do something to like swing the fights your way, right? Another way people talk about it is win condition. So let's go through. I'm trying to make these VOD reviews a little faster. Sometimes I take like an hour or so, but maybe for half an hour here. We'll see. Famous last words. So we're on Circuit Royale as well. Great map for Sigma. The reason it's great is because it has these long sight lines and sort of like narrow pathing. There aren't a ton of flanks that are really easy for people to use. So that's why Widow is good. And Sig is great because you can throw your shield to suppress someone, and uh, and then hold down a different angle. Like you've got range, so you can spam one angle and shield another, or cut off the tank from heals and damage them, something like that, right? Um, Out the gate, it's not a bad idea to just suck out the gate, get some health. Like, why not? And also, if they're like throwing spam, if there's a Hanzo or something you don't know, you might be able to eat that stuff. Actuating the barrier. And from the start, it's like, that's okay, I think. We use our shield, but you're going to get your shield broken like multiple times in this first engagement, and I don't really think you need to. So like he already backed off, we get rid of our shield so it regens immediately. Like this is doing nothing for you, right? There's nothing coming your way that your shield is really blocking, especially because it's like so high up. And especially if you just play it a little tighter here, because you can't even damage them right now, right? The other thing I'd say just about this map in general, sometimes there's a widow up there. Um, and so kind of like a good first thing to be looking for and checking is like, is there a widow out there? And if so, you can throw your shield like straight at her. She can't break it. And you can deny her shots, right? And as you get better, it's the timing of that. But right now we're like a third of our shield health, and we're not trying to take space right now. Like we're not near enough to fight them, right? We have the cart. That's like an advantage for the attackers because you can stand behind it and it blocks a bunch of damage, especially if you crouch. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing I noticed. Is just like you don't really save your resources. So right now we're in like the neutral. It's not a bad idea to poke the Sig shield, try to get his shield low. That's gonna be like the main factor. Like there's cooldown status, right? It's rock paper scissors. It's like that. I don't know if you've played that custom game. It's like a Sig dodgeball, but it's basically that, right? Like if you both have all your cooldowns and he uses rock, you can throw your shield. And then after you use this rock, you can use your suck for free, right? And the game is like you're trying to rock the other Sig when he sucks. And to do that, you need to get his shield low or break it. Now, the other thing you can do is put your shield out and then suck, kind of overlapping it. Like if this was your shield, here's out, you suck like right here, so your body is behind it and your hands in front, and that can give you some free health. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think your big problem here is, like here, I'd probably suck to take this base. And then if I see him winding up the rock, I can just dodge it. Yeah. And then you get health for free, and then you have an advantage, and you can start pushing him and try to force his suck and then rock him because you have rock and he doesn't, right? But I think in general, your problem is you like just focus the other tank, and you don't really look like on Sigma. What we need to identify in this situation is these dudes who are like separated. We got this guy who's like way too far up. Shrimp here. We got Mannix on the high ground, and then we got the supports down low. And especially this Ana is in a terrible position. If you can take this corner, you can shoot her, right, for free. You can shield these guys, or make them back up with damage. You can throw a shield up on this guy. You can throw a shield here and cut off these guys' healing and make them back up, right? On Sig, we're looking to whittle people down, not necessarily kill them all the time. Like, it's great to kill people and hit directs and hit a rock and then combo with our primary. But the thing to remember is you have like unlimited ammo, AoE damage, ranged weapon, right? And so the main thing you're looking to do with that is just like constantly spam anyone who's trying to do anything in your line of sight and make them back off so they can't get like a clean shot, or they have to move, they have to constantly move, right? And in general, we want to be looking to cut down like 2 angles at once. So like right now, again, our shield's like super low, it's half. And we're not really doing anything that we couldn't achieve by just jiggle peeking here, right? Because they're projectiles, so we can shoot them and hide and they go and land. We don't have to watch where they land, right? bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah, and we can save our shield. And then when we want this corner, we're gonna be trying to get the Sigma to suck. He's probably going to because he's so far up. And then when he does that, we can use our suck to kind of take some sort of space here, like work our way here, or even work our way up here with a combo of shield and suck. It just kind of depends. But right, we're looking for positional advantage. So your shield gets broken here, and now it's going to take longer to recharge, right? And didn't really buy your, like, I suppose your Sojourn kind of has a good shot, but not really on anyone, right? Um, and now is the time you want to be fighting, right? We kind of get this first corner for free usually, but this is the really hard one, right? Because it's got this high ground here that's really easy for the attackers to set up on and have like a really good line of sight. Like as we're sorry, defenders, as we're attacking this, like we don't have that many options. We have to walk through this. Um, like if we want to get all the way over here, let's say, and threaten this high ground, which is probably what you want to be looking to do, right? Or maybe we get here because we see these supports. But even here, it's like not that good cover, right? So the problem here is we're like out of resources when we actually want to fight. Like we're using them to kind of block damage, and now he's gonna rock us because our shield's broken, right? And he misses because he sucks. A fine rock. We could be sucking earlier. We got our shield broke again, right? When your shield's low like that, you want to keep it to block specific things. That's the reason you don't want it broken. Like even if it's like 10 health, it'll still block rock, right? Or dynamite or something like that. Or say a Sojourn Rail. Right? And here, like, we're looking for damage on this Sig. Sojourn jumped in and she's close, right? Right now, we probably need to be backing up. But again, we want to be shooting this guy, this guy, this guy, or this guy. And ideally, we want to shield, like, throwing a shield back here if we had it. And then damaging this dude, for example, we could probably kill him because he wouldn't get heals. Or force a Curie cooldown, like a teleport. Or we throw a shield up here and then use our damage to block these. Think of the damage as another, like the shield is one hand that you're like stiff arming one person and then you're like punching another dude with your primaries. And it's just jabs, right? We can't punch really hard because we're using two hands at once. But that's kind of how Sig works, right? Until you have an opportunity to rock or an opportunity to suck for free. As in, there's nothing that's going to damage you through that cooldown, right? Like a beam weapon or something. Like you need to identify those moments where, like, oh, Sig doesn't have rock and everyone's standing in front of me. Like I can absorb all of their attacks, so I can just like walk at them and absorb, and they can't do anything about it. They have to back off, or I'm going to kill them, right? But right now, the problem is we're at this huge disadvantage in that we have half health, we have half shield now, so it's like a little better. But their Sig is just better off than yours. Other than that, he's used his cooldowns. Even that shield is kind of the right idea. And he has to go around it, right? But that, you need to use that. That opens up like a rock here on the Sojourn, for example. Right? We're just kind of looking in the wrong spot. We're like really focused on the tank and the objective. And I like that you dodged the rock, but you're relying on that dude to be bad. And you could just flash your shield and then drop it. And see what happens when we just like get on guys? Like that Sojourn messed up. She's playing too close to you. I would say in general, when the cart gets kind of here, especially, like especially on your first attack, we should use it as cover kind of, because this creates like a pretty good thing. And then we're looking to rotate up here. Almost always, most of the tanks you play. Um, because we want to work our way this way and get into this sort of position to really back people off. And once we're here, like they can't really be anywhere here because you can shield through damage, you can damage them. And usually people back off and the actual second fight happens right around the end if it happens at all. Right. Where are you? And drop our shield a little more promptly to get the recharge. Right? And we can look to just push these guys out. There's nothing they can do to you. Like, there's no reason for you to be on card here. It's a bit like if, I don't know if you play or understand American football, but uh, it'd be a bit like if on every play, the linemen on a defending team, like, all lined up at the goal line, even though the ball is like halfway across the field and just waited for the other team to like run a play at the goal line to stop it. Like there's a reason teams don't do that. They line up at the ball. That's where the fight's gonna be, right? You're protecting the payload. They have to touch it to stop it, right? So actually, right now you're on defense. And so you need to get yourself in a good place to defend against them taking it. And especially think like, okay, I killed their tank. He's gonna walk back after a while. I killed another dude. I forget which, the Ash, I think. Or is that the Ash? Yeah, no, the Sojourn. She's gonna be walking back. We're not gonna fight this until the payload's like here-ish, right? And this is some map knowledge, like that's just is kind of always what happens. So we want to be taking some sort of proactive position to make these guys back off so that by the time the payload's close and they have to contest, it's a difficult problem for them to solve, right? And they have this really strong high ground kind of situation, but we get this really good corner. We get this place. We get kind of these barriers too, and we have the payload for cover. So they have good places to shoot down at us, but if we like have our resources and stuff, we can put a lot of pressure on anyone who actually steps onto the payload, right? Especially if you like shield one angle and you're shooting at this Ana, let's say, so she can't take a shot, right? You're kind of letting them set up for free here. Like, what does that shield do for you right now? So we move in, and again, right, our shield's at half health because we've just been kind of putting it out there. We do have cooldowns, which is good, but like it's not time to fight yet, right? It's almost time to fight. Or rather, we've been using our resources before it's time to fight. And now's the time when we actually need our shield and stuff. I think to note, like with Winston, he wants to get on you because you can't block his damage. And he can shield you. He wants to put his bubble on you so you don't get healing. But you can cut him off, especially if on this Ana. So the thing to do if he's so forward like this is to throw your shield straight at the Ana here. And then start damaging him. Wait for him to jump in and bubble, and either he's going to go on your back line or he's going to go on you. And we just kind of back up and make it hard for him with his heels cut off. Or, like, the other thing you could do is go forward and pressure everyone else on his team. And kind of trust your team to stay together, right? So we let our shield get broke, and again, we're not really getting any value from it. Like, if you look at, I'm just gonna lower the time here. If you look at like the damage that this shield blocks, like kind of the Sojourn, she has to go here to break your shield. But most of your team is back here behind a payload. They're pretty safe, right? And there's only 2 people who can see this spot. And look how Anna's going to come up. See how she comes up there? Because she can't see her Winston, right? You put a shield here, it forces her to either walk all the way forward to here where your team can shoot her, or she tells Winston, like, back off, back off, back off, right? And then you get what you want. Now, the other thing we could do is back up and come around here and cut her off this way and maybe kill her or kill this guy. Yeah, we don't have to, like, face tank straight into Winston. He's a little tougher than you are, right? And if he's good about his bubble, he can block a rock. And that's the main thing we want to know is, does he have bubble or not? If he doesn't, he can't do that much, and we can really punish him. And the other thing we could do is walk forward and suck all of these guys when the Winston is forward. And that would give us health and help us survive, like being bubbled off, right? So we're doing that, but it's a little late, and he's damaging us through it, right? I think it's like a fine rock, but he's gonna have jump, I think. And now we're bubbled off. Do we have a shield there? Yes, but it's not in a good place for us. Right? So we're kind of trying to close distance, I guess, on Winston and kill him. It's like, we're not really going to kill him that well. We just play the distance. We can shoot these guys. They're all too close, especially this Ana. This is crazy, these ults coming out in this super lost fight. Where are you at here? Right, and I think we hear a bunch of ults and we're like, ah, shit. We gotta help our team. Let's go fight this Winston. Try to save your rock for when he jumps, especially if he uses bubble, right? We can kill him. We killed a Kiri here. She tallied in. Could have definitely killed her. Like, I don't understand that rock at all. So we get staggered, right? We need it to be like... around this moment, we lost 2. Yeah, and sure, those guys are fighting. But the cart is like there. Like, look how long it takes us to walk back. Whereas these guys, like, and especially the ranged DPS, they just have to walk out to where this Ash is, and they can contest the cart more or less. Like, they can put damage on it. So remember, at the end of points, like, unless you have a favored fight, like you've gotten a pick, you're up 1, you're up 2, the fight's like not in your favor. Even fights are not really in your favor because of the respawn distance. If you trade guys, if someone kills someone but then they die, that's really bad for the attackers at the end of first points on any payload map. Yep. So here we're kind of like staggering, and we're not doing anything walking up that we couldn't have done just back here. There's no reason to close distance on Winston. Make him jump to you, especially when he uses his bubble. Like, he doesn't want to leave it, right? And here, we can just kill the Kiri, 1 melee, right? She belled. As soon as you see a bell, you need to look for the Kiri. And here, like, the other thing is just, if you're gonna back off, over here, instead of just straight back, over here, right? I think you also could have lived this. But tank getting staggered like this, that sucks. Like, now, like we already lost the last fight, right? And now I have to You come in from respawn and die, and now have to wait again before we get another fight. This can be like 30 seconds more off the clock. I forgot you have mercy. But now you don't have res for this fight, right? And again, we're like, don't ever shield. Or shield out, which also sucks because we can't. It's going to take like 2 seconds for us to deploy it here. And this is the angle we want to be shielding, actually, right? And we kind of shielded to walk this. Right? Winston's not near you. All of these guys shoot projectiles. Just suck this distance. And you'll get it back. You'll have full shield health, right? And also, when you're far away from people, there's no reason to be this wide. Because they can shoot you and you can't shoot them. Most of this fight, right? So why not just take this angle? And go wide if you want to suck, specifically, to get health, to then walk forward. Now we can shoot them. That's a really dangerous, like, the on is bad. But you're sort of relying on her to be bad. I don't think you anticipated that she could sleep you. You always have to be thinking about who could cancel my ult here. So in this comp, it's like sleep and bell are the two things you want sort of out. I like the... So, and when that's happening, you can put a shield out to block the sleep and kind of float around it. That works. Or you can use cover. You could have hit the flux and then kind of jiggle peeked and still shot these guys from here, let's say. Or use this tree, maybe. Right? I like the follow-up, though. I like that you're looking for the follow-up. We can look to suck the bob. Oh, we don't have suck. Or we could have rocked the bob. I like the anticipation rock to get the point. Nice. So I feel like that's sort of enough about Sigma. Let's watch this a little in fast motion, because I'm totally lying about how long this was going to take. Yep. Right? And Sigma, why is her shield out here? Like, what is her shield? We can't shield Winston's damage, right? If anything, we should be having her shield up here to stop these guys from shooting. But the other thing, especially in this transition, you're in Sig, you could just like throw balls like up here over and over and just keep whittling down the Ash so she can't peek and threaten a direct, right? And now, again, with the lineman sitting on the goal line, a big fat guy, right, who can't move that fast. We don't have mobility, right? So, like, when we win a fight, we killed the tank and now we killed the Ash. You need to be looking to take some sort of angle, probably here, to be honest. That's good for you, right? Because none of these guys can do anything. Like, Genji's a little annoying, I guess, but you can rock him when he deflects. All of these guys, you can block all on his cooldowns with your shield and suck. Kiri can't kill you. Like, we need to be applying pressure here and just forcing these guys back and out and into their little hidey hole. Right? Like, why are we... what are we shielding? A fine rock, I guess. So... the other thing, so they were going to have Nano Blade. They hadn't used it like the whole first point, right? So we should be anticipating that. And we should try to have at least a rock to try and rock him. But your rock was like fine. I like the shield up here to cut him off, but we could be a little more intentional about that. The other thing is we don't need to walk at him, right? We damage from range, and he kind of doesn't. And there's only so much you can do about it, right? These guys, though, you can mess up. They're way too close to you, right? We could have rocked that deflect. I like that you're staying a little further away from Winston now. That's kind of why you started winning here. And we almost have our ult. Probably note the Zen switch. I would let her shield get broken. We could have shielded res or walked up and sucked to protect her from the res. Right? We need to look for plays. That shield does nothing. And okay, we should be checking tab to know they switch Zarya, right? We don't want to be close to her. She gets that corner, fine. We get this. And suddenly she can't beam us and we can shoot her all day, right? And we can shoot her and we're trying to force out her bubbles, we're trying to counter bubbles. So we need to count to 3. She usually does like 1 for charge, 1 to try and push, and then her first bubble's usually off cooldown, like sun time. So the actual window for Zarya is after the 3rd bubble generally. But we want to be trying to force her to use her bubbles early and make her walk to us. Okay? Like here, we're closing distance and she can shoot us. Now you have ult here, and I think that's why you're being aggressive, and you do kill her, I believe. Yeah. That's not bad. Now that she's dead, nobody can do anything to you, right? We have suck, right? Yeah. Immediately, we just suck and walk on these guys. And use our shield if we have to. Probably shield all these guys and then just start spamming the Skenji so he gets back. We just want him to keep on going back and back and back. Right? Like, why are we so timid here? Is it because we're worried that the card's not going to move, right? This is exactly what I'm talking about. You need to identify as tank, any tank you play, like who can stop you from doing what you do well, and when they can't stop you, right? And that's something like Bell on Ramattra. Like once Kiri uses her teleport and Bell, if you pop Nemesis, she can't get away from you, right? Once Ana uses sleep, she can't sleep you, right? And then on Sig, it's sort of different things, right? If they don't have any close range dude who can shoot you, who doesn't care so much about your shield or doesn't care so much about your suck, if all of their damage is projectiles, you can just walk on them if you have suck. And I don't blame you exactly for missing the Skenji, and now we're walking, but like we could have really gotten a lot more space here. And more health. I don't mind this, but we're playing like so close. We don't have to. Like even the Zen taking cover there, we can be cover back here and still damage him with splash if that's what we want to do, or try for a bounce. But then also we're just turning our back on this guy, right? We didn't even suck him earlier. And now the Zarya's back, right? So he didn't have health. We didn't like get a good grasp off early to get extra health, and then we just like really ignored half of their damage. We were just focused on the one thing. So we die. Yeah. This is a terrible res. Sorry. Mercies do this because they think all reses are good. Don't mind the rock. So now we swap Winston. Winston, I think the main thing is you don't really know like what a good situation is. This might be where sort of tilt sets in, I think. Like this bubble, what does it do? Right? The person who can damage you at range is like Kiri, which nowadays you can't 2-tap. It's not as big a deal. It's not going to stop you from walking through the choke. And then Sojourn, who's not looking this way, right? And Zarya, she just throws her stupid grenades, right? As Winston, we need to, like, the bubble is the most important thing. We need to play around it. It lets us do stuff. So just kind of blow it to walk through here. Now you guys are getting rolled because you don't have bubble. So if we're playing in Nazar, our bubble is the way we block our damage, right? That's one of the reasons Winston's pretty good in Nazar is like, it's like his advantages. He can block her damage when he wants to stay somewhere and block her heals maybe. Or block the guys trying to heal her, or block her from damaging him while he kills the guys trying to heal her. Um, and then he has mobility. He can just run away from her and be out of her range when she like breaks a bubble or whatever, right? And he can just jump up here or something. And so on Winston, on this point, I think like this point is a little tough for Winston, but it's okay. We probably want to be looking to stage first before we dive, and I think that's a big thing you don't do on Winston. We want to like kind of come here quickly, using cover to avoid damage, and then jump up like here. Or if there's like guys over there, then maybe we jump up here close to them. And we might have the bubble to get them to walk away, like bubble and zap. I want to be up here, and then we wait for Zarya to try to walk forward here, and then we just drop our bubble, try to kill one of these dudes, right? And then because we didn't use our jump to go in, we can jump either to chase someone who we were gonna kill, excuse me, or to get out if we like take too much damage. Or we could jump like melee combo, so you get a free melee when you land, and the melee damage plus the jump damage like is a pretty good burst. We do that and burst on Zarya because she'll have used her bubbles by then, right? But here, like, we're gonna lose, and I can kind of see it from now because of alt economy. Like, they have Transcendence, they have Blade, they have Grav, and we have like I don't know, maybe we have High Noon, which is not that great. We do have Kyriel, and we have Sojourn ult. So we need to be like thinking about like our win condition here. Unfortunate. So that kind of situation, like, it sucks. It sucks to lose the ult, but jumping back to shield this after the rail is done, like, not really gonna help. Right? It's just gonna let Sojourn charge a rail on your shield. No reason to really do that. We're walking over here, and we could, like, come up here and stage a dive onto Sojourn. The thing we want to be thinking on Winston is, like, who's away from their team that we can kind of, like, either make them move or kill them. Who can we isolate? And now we don't have bubble. And it's like, by the time you're in a place to actually do something, you have half health, no armor, right? And yeah, they grab and stuff. They tried to grab Blade. But you don't dive people by going in front of them in kind of the middle. You got 3 people looking at you, and they are just going to kill you. If we wanted to dive these 2, we needed to go like over or like a long leap or like land up here. And damage them from behind, so they have to turn around. So it's more inconvenient. Like, right now, they can look at you, and they can also, like, not lose track of their tank, right? And although 2 supports together, don't know if we're gonna kill them. Right? I think the dive to make in that situation was probably the Sojourn up here, looking to land a little behind her, so that the only way for her to run away is towards your team, right? Land like here. So we just have this Sojourn ult, right? So like every time you're pushing in here, you got one bubble that was like okay, like it split some people. But we're just bubbling choke here, and now we can't do anything because we don't have bubble. The cooldown to use is probably leap up to here. Again, these guys can't get any help because they're on high ground. And then drop our bubble. Instead, we're forced to kind of stay here and not be able to walk through. Right, this is kind of over. The other thing is looking at the alt state, like, I'd also be thinking, like, maybe the one thing I could do is build Primal. And be able to stall it out long enough for my Sojourn to get back to use her ult to kill them. But again, we're just like we're not putting ourselves in a place where we can make any sort of play on Winston. So I'm not sure if you know what kind of opportunities you're looking for, right? We're just like people alone on high ground. The person in the back of the team that the team's not looking at. That kind of thing. And we want to see how much we can get away with the bubble. Like holding the bubble until we drop it. Not always a great idea to drop it immediately. Because once we have the bubble down, it's like this tether. Let's go back. Now this rewind thing's biting me in the ass, huh? Yeah, I'm on console, so it's like it's really annoying to get to the spot I want. So like the way bubble works, once we put it down, that's kind of our zone. And we can like go to the edges of the bubble and not take damage. We can bubble dance around it, but once we put the bubble down, it's gonna be hard for us to walk this way, like over here, right? So generally speaking, you want to hold it for a bit and try to get it like as close to the distance, the space you want to contest as possible. Right? So this like defensive bubble, it's not going to help you zap these guys as much as like a bubble up here would, right? That's kind of what I'm saying. So we'll go ahead. We'll look really quickly at Ramattra. It's been like 40 minutes. Ramattra, we want to stay in wizard mode as much as possible. We want to look to, if they want to walk forward somewhere, we know they're going to walk forward through a space, or we know they're going to back up. That's where we try to aim our vortex to slow them down and line up some easy shots. You outdamage the fuck out of Zarya in wizard mode, and at range, like she can't do anything. She'll like try to hit a grenade, I guess. You just kind of drill her with headshots. You want to play your spacing again against Zarya. When you're in Nemesis form, you actually do less damage than she does. So if you like know she doesn't have bubbles and she's like half health, sure, Nemesis. But mainly we're looking to use Nemesis to deal unblockable damage to people who are DPS have gotten low, or someone who's like been really dumb with their cooldowns. They're too close to you and they can't get away. So it'd be like, actually any of these guys really, like Kiriko teleports in and uses Bell, instant Nemesis from us. Ana is standing too close, uses both her cooldowns. Really sleep. Genji dashes in and deflects. Sojourn jumps in. We can do damage to those people, right? But like, no real reason to walk on these guys. I'm also playing like, just right in the open. We used our shield super early, so now we don't have it when we need it. Like now the cart's coming here. Now's the time we're gonna fight for this space. Right? I like to get back off. But again, this like high ground is invisible to you. We're just kind of damaging the tank. Why did you even use Vortex on? right? Kind of misaimed. We could bounce it off this thing, get these guys, and then try to kill Ana, because she tends to stand still, hard scope. We need to be playing cover like a lot more. This one, or probably this one. This one's good because you can force them back with some wizard damage and then kind of come over here and nemesis out onto these guys. These short flanks are really strong on Ramattra. The other thing with these kind of tanks, like if we think back to American football and like the big fat dudes, like what are they trying to do when they shove each other at the goal line, right? They're trying to get around each other. And that's kind of the thing with especially short range, like Ramattra's kind of a brawl poke hybrid. Zarya is sort of the same. Like what you're trying to do when you put damage on a tank or pressure on a tank, it's not so much you want to kill them. It's that you want to make them off balance, like stop them from doing what they want to do and get around them and kill the small guy with the football. you know. Um, that's why we trade cooldowns. This is a pretty good, this is an okay nemesis, but like we had someone picked with our Genji in our back line. Like we need to be looking to stop anyone else from shooting these guys so they deal with it. We needed to be backing off. Yeah, it was like based on what was happening in front of you, it was an okay decision, I guess. But you also want to use the punch range a bit. You don't need to be right up in someone's grill to punch them. So you can kind of back off. And also get in a habit of like, if I can't quite land at the punch, like they're chasing someone around a car or something, sometimes you block for a sec while you line up the punch and then let go of block and punch to like take less damage. We probably need to use Nemesis to back off and try to land a Vortex on his Genji. Right? And now your team's going to be fucked because there's a high charge Zarya. And there's no you. Let's look at one more fight on Ramattra. I guess you're trying to anticipate that's a terrible vortex, right? Like the ton of vortex is either there, because it'll like it'll fuck up her jump, right? Or we see her, we know she's gonna back off if we damage her a little. We put a vortex here, where she's gonna land, and then Nat slows her down, and then we follow up with our wizard damage. At this point, okay, our soldier's in. Our guys are here, I guess. Do you have shield? Yes. So one thing you can do, throw the shield here. You could have helped your soldier. One advantage he has, like Sigma, is he can shield things from far that are like far away from him. So I would be always looking to use your shield before you Nemesis, and like a big reason for that is save Ana, and she's looking to throw cooldowns into you. Oh, I guess they just switched. But kind of the point still stands. Like shield blocks things that you can't exactly block in Nemesis, like big cooldowns, like sleep, anti, and it cuts off heals for the other team, and it blocks damage to you. So that means like if you can play around your shield, you spend less time blocking and more time punching, right? So instead we kind of just eat it. Even there, like our goal is to contest the cart. We're not gonna kill anyone yet until the rest of our team is there. Would have been a much better play to just block that whole time and wait for your team to come up, because now they're here, right? But you dead. And see, they get some kills. Do you guys hold this? I don't think so. Nah. But they force out grav. But like, imagine if you just blocked, you know, and Brig comes down, her healing heals you. That would mean ERA probably wouldn't have dropped, so she could have healed you. She could have played further out the cart, like a safer position. Like, look where her lamp thing is. Like, that's where she wanted to play, right? Sorry, grabs you in Nemesis. You can block if she grabs you in Wizard mode. You can shield it at least. Just could have been a better contest if we'd used her cooldowns like a little smarter. Right? I'm not sure we're not just shooting these guys. We should be shooting immediately. And like we're not gonna kill everyone right now and take this space. What is going on with the Brig here? Oh no, she's dead. But what we want to do before the cart gets to about there, we want to secure this space for us because it's really strong. We can shoot anyone walking this way. We can shoot anyone walking here. We can play here. Just withering fire. If they come here, it's this really narrow choke that like all you have to do is play like here and you have cover and you can still like spam it. Or they can come up here where they're at like extreme disadvantage on the low ground, right? So we just want to be clearing the high ground here. And using our wizard damage to do it. And the vortex. Right? I think maybe your misconception with Ramattra is like it's about the punching, and it's really not. The punching is like his finishing move. It's not like the principal way he makes space. I like the idea of that vortex. Alright. So we see the BAP use his Emort. And we get it. And he dead. Right? At some point, we have to remember Ramattra moves fast. This fight's probably done, to be honest. Like, if at this point we back up and take this space, they have to walk all this way and they don't have BAP, and it gives your time for you dude to respawn. Your Brig. Did you see Bell? Yeah, but it's almost off cooldown. There's kind of hard limits. Like, we're even in this fight. We don't want to be pushing into their spawn, closer to where their BAP will respawn, and also around this corner, out of line of sight of your team. Right? So I feel like this... period is like... Like, yeah, we get the Kiriko for our ult. And I suppose, like, the pressure forced out the Kiri ult, which is, you know, not the worst thing in the world. For them to use it in spawn. But there's no reason to not just pressure from here and wait for your cooldowns. Like, ulting this in their spawn, like, even if you kill their whole team, like, that's 30 seconds, but they're all, like, right here. It's not like you've set them back. Right? When we're on defense, one of the big things is running out the clock. And it's much, much better to make them, like, cross all this distance and then kill them, like, when they're up here. Especially because the cart's here now. So now they have to walk through this and they don't get the cart for cover. Right? Because then we kill them here. It's, like, further for them to walk back, and they spent the time to, like, come here, and maybe they spent some ults. Right? I think we're just kind of tilted and pressing at this point. Like, I need to carry my team because we're not doing enough. And now I'm gonna like. The guy gets owned. All right, we're at 55 minutes. I suck. I suck at keeping things short. But anyway, I just wanted to show you uh kind of what I think are like the main problems with your gameplay, and I think the main thing is just like you're always closing distance and kind of walking towards this area. And we're not looking to cut off her from heals. We're not looking to like you play a bunch of characters that have range advantage on her, and then Winston has mobility. But you always play her like right in her face and kind of right by the cart. And so you're playing to her advantages, which is kind of like she gets these bubbles every so often, and she gets stronger as she goes. And you're not playing to your character's strengths, right? A shield is an advantage on Zarya because not only can you block her damage, but you can block her heals, and she doesn't have mobility to like do something about it, especially when she uses bubbles. And then on Winston, like we can go, she can't go at the high ground without taking a long ass time. But we could keep everyone off the high ground if we want. We can get the high ground for her team. And maybe she can throw a bubble onto someone, but that's sort of the best she can do. So, so we need to be looking for those opportunities a little more, instead of just playing kind of sort of autopilot, like I'm by the cart and that means I'm doing my job, and I'm in the middle of the map and I'm like taking a bunch of damage and that means I'm doing my job as tank. It's like you're not doing that. Yeah, to like carry as tank, you need to be looking for the other guys. So hope that helps, and I gotta go answer my door. All right, bye. Let me know if you have questions.